everyone, thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for, for watching the first video of our series of reading the Animator's Survival Kit. Hopefully you liked it, and hopefully you're still reading with me and it's not boring or anything. I did read a lot of information within the second content or chapter. I keep calling it a chapter, but I guess it's not a chapter. And there was a lot of information, but I did kind of pick through the next chapter, and there's going to be a lot of practice as far as like drawing and all that. And I think you're gonna get a lot from it. So hang on and don't go anywhere. I promise you're gonna get a lot of drawing from it. You're going to really enjoy it. So just stay here with me and get the book if you haven't. I promise if you do animation and don't know how to do something, I always went back to this book, looked how to do something that I didn't know how to do, and this book always saved my life. So get the book, and if you haven't watched the first video that I did, watch it. And thank you for watching this one. Now this little content or chapter, I'm gonna keep calling it chapter, so just chapter. Okay. So this second chapter is going to be more informative, definitely shorter than the first one, and it's called, sorry, I should have had this right. Actually, I have it here. Time to Draw. So we are going to be talking about three tips that Williams really thinks are three tips that really helped him. And he talks about his history. I'm not gonna talk about what he talked about, like not his history, like history of animation. He already talked about that in the first chapter. He is going to be talking about his life history, like like what he went through in his life, and he's filming Roger Rabbit. Sorry. And yeah, so kind of like what took him there, and like what he went through before, and some of his mentors throughout his lifetime, and what they said to him. And I'm not gonna like repeat what he said or like talk about it, honestly. I'm just gonna talk about the three tips that he said, and that's it. So the three tips that he said are this, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about kind of like how I think he's right, why I think he's right, and some of the things that I think I went through, kind of like what he did, but like in my own experience. And yeah, so I know I said that I was gonna go through the book, but I just think that this chapter was a little bit about more like his life, and I'm not gonna go through a lot of that. So, but I'm really excited to go to the next chapter, which it is more about drawing. So hang around. Alright, so the three tips that he suggests, we all go through, and the first one, he says, learn to draw. Oh, and I'm looking at my notes. Yeah, so if you see me looking to the right side, my notebook is right here. Actually, how would I put my notebook on this side? Okay. So learn to draw. So he says learn to draw, and then he says that this person, which I forget to I forgot who told him that. I have an awful memory. And anyways, I'm not gonna talk about my memory because that's another story for another time. But he says that this person told him that he needs to really, really learn to draw. He says. So he pretty much goes out and really starts practicing from life. He says that he forgets about from looking at comics, and he says that style comes after, later. He says forget about your style, forget about putting style in. Now I'm gonna tell you here, or maybe I'll tell you later. Yeah, I'll tell you later. I'll tell you after I tell you the 3 tips that he talks about, because I thought it was pretty interesting. That he says the 3 tips, and then I thought, hey, that's what I was put through. So I'll tell you what that is. Well, so that was the first tip, was learn to draw. He did animals, he did real life, portraits, obviously naked people. It's learning the body, the human body in every single pose. It's a must. And I thought that was great for us to do that today. So before you turn off the video or switch it or fast forward, that's what we're gonna be doing today. After we talk about the book, we're gonna be drawing tips and tricks about figure drawing and how it relates to animation. So obviously every time we talk about the book we draw, so that's what we're gonna be doing today, so stick around for that. And then Albrecht Dürer was the second tip. He says someone told him, I forget who it was, they told him to look for Albrecht Dürer. And so I don't know, that's pretty specific in my opinion, but look for him. He did say that he forgot about animation completely, and he started drawing very specific things that really helped him in his career. So that was his second tip. And the third one, and most importantly, was anatomy. So he missed a class. He was talking about how he was working with I forgot, I'll put it in here, right here, this guy, and he was working with him, and he missed a class, he missed a something, I forget what it was, my memory again beats me, and he went back, and that was after years of him being a professional, and he realized how important anatomy was, how important anatomy was, and how he really needed to go back and work on his anatomy. And now that I've worked, or I talked about the 3 tips, I'm going to tell you this. If you go to animation class, they do talk about Albrecht Dürer, which I think it's really specific about. That tip is really specific, but we did talk about Albrecht Dürer. But again, that's very specific. I'm not gonna say that it's very, very, very essential, Albrecht Dürer, but we did talk about him. But anyways, you do need to know how to draw, and style comes last. Obviously, I will say that all animators do have their style, and I do have to say that it does come last. I'm gonna say every animator knows how to draw, and when you have a style and in class you're trying to draw, when I was trying to draw something and I didn't know my anatomy in class, they went back to me and they told me, do you know the construction of your character? And it all comes down to knowing the construction of your character. I think it all comes down to knowing the construction of your character and knowing the fact that underneath your character there is a construction. And because underneath every drawing there is like the construction, the anatomy, like the construction. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly. I think I have to work on my explanation skills. If I want to continue doing these YouTube videos, tell me if I'm doing this correctly. Hopefully you're understanding everything I'm saying. And if you do have more questions, then leave those in the comment box. Okay. So those were his 3 tips that he left in this chapter. Now, I wanted to point out that he does mention Bill's. He does mention Bill. Tytla. The reason why I wanted to mention him, he's the animator of Stromboli in Pinocchio. The reason why I wanted to mention him is because he's a really good animator. He is mentioned in other books. He was a really great animator and a great, I guess, artist. Good, figure. And yeah, so he also mentions the importance of studying from, I guess, now he doesn't really mention, this is something I'm gonna mention. Having reference. You're not gonna understand the importance until you actually go into drawing and making an animation, and not gonna understand the importance of having references and having something like, let's say, I don't know, you're drawing like a puppy, going out and looking for a puppy and seeing how the puppy acts, and seeing how puppy acts and really getting like the feel for how puppy acts. So reference is key to anything. In fact, in Disney studios and DreamWorks studios and any studios, little studios, big studios, any studios, they will show you reference and they will bring actors, bring reference, and make sure that the animators get the reference down to make sure they get the character or whatever it is they're drawing on point. So whenever you're drawing, make sure you get reference. So going back to what William said, he says make sure that what you're drawing doesn't necessarily gets like looks real or something, like he says something like that. It's not necessarily real, but it gets, quote unquote, and I don't know how to say this, but he says oh my gosh, I can't say this. help me. Wherever you are, sitting on your desk, watching on your bed, say believability. I can't say this. Okay, just so you know, if you didn't know this, time to learn Luisa. Oh, my name is Luisa. Hi, my name is Luisa. So English is my second language. I'm not from here. I'm from Colombia. So, yeah, hi. Hey, my name is Luisa. I'm from Colombia. And I got here to the United States when I was 15 years old. So I spoke Spanish for 15 years before I learned English. Anyways, so if you ever see me struggling saying any words, any last name, or anything like that, it's because I did not know any English until I was 15. Anyways, you can tell me now that I'm doing a good job speaking English. Anyways, well, since we're getting off topic, so my plant died, and I have this cool pot, but I don't know what plant to put inside. So if you have a really cool plant suggestion that you would like me to put in this pot, put it in the comment box. And I know how random that is. I just thought, since we're here and you are watching this video, and I do like reading comments, and I do have a dead plant, which is a fiddle something. Well, it is dead now. I do have one leaf. Anyways, if you do have an idea for a plant that should go in this pot, put it in the comment box. But it does kind of stand by a window, so it does need to have a little bit of light, though I do keep the window kind of closed. Anyways, getting off topic. So now what we're gonna do for the rest of this 10 minutes is draw a little bit together in a Wacom tablet, I think. And we're gonna use the software Sketchbook by Autodesk, which I love. And if you don't have, I suggest you should get. It's an application in the Windows Market Store, App Store, whatever that is. So if you go into the App Store, you can get the Sketchbook application by Autodesk. I'll show you what it looks like. I won't download it with you or anything like that, but I'll show you what it looks like. So yeah, just get it, download it, and yeah, see you then.
Okay, hi everyone. We're here. This is Sketchbook. This is an application by Autodesk. I don't know if you can see the little icon. But I'm actually gonna put the icon in the beginning of this video, so you'll see it. You'll know what I mean, which one it is, and it is by Autodesk. I do have the Pro version, but to be honest with you, the Pro version has a ton of brushes, and it is just like $9 or $7. Um, I think I'm right. I'll correct if I'm wrong. Right here. Um, but yeah, it's not that expensive. It's definitely worth it. It's something I've used, I don't know, since I was in high school. And it's pretty simple, but honestly, for a computer application, you definitely get like the full kind of like Procreate experience, but just on your, I don't know if you have a Wacom tablet. I'm using a Wacom tablet or any tablet on your computer. So that's what I'm using. So now we're gonna go ahead and import a picture. This picture I actually got from Pexels.com, and by an artist, a photographer by the last name of Shivesa. And Okay, so we are going to make this smaller and move it here to the right side. I'm not going to go through how to use this software. If it is something that interests you, definitely put it in the comments and I will just kind of tell you what I use and some of the things that you can do with this software. And okay, so we're not gonna do too much for today. I'm just gonna give you some figure drawing tips and tricks that I know that I've learned in school over the years. And I guess I'm gonna choose a brush that I like. Maybe this one. Maybe this one will work. For me. Okay, so yeah, I think that'll be good. I think that should be fine. Yeah. Okay, so all right, so for this, some things that you want to do for figure drawing is definitely have what I call the line of action down. And the line of action is okay, so obviously, the first thing that you always want to start with is the head. And I'm sorry, I'm not happy. Oh no, my brush disappeared. Okay, okay, so I just changed my brush. Wasn't liking the one that I was using. Yep, I think this is the one I like. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is definitely start with the head. You want to start kind of getting the pose. You always want to not care how many lines you do. You notice that I immediately with just my pencil, I got like what direction she's actually looking at. I got this little middle line right there. Right. Right there. That line. So she's looking that way. And the next thing you want to do is get the shoulders. So her shoulders are almost like behind, like her neck is sort of like in the same way position, in like in the same position as the head. Like the neck is like tucked in. So that's like what we're looking at. And the action line that I was talking about is pretty much the rest of her body, right? So that would be her torso, which some people, and this is just really kind of like how long you have to draw, and will, kind of like do um, like a rib cage, and that's like for later on, like how much detail you're putting. So I'm just gonna step back because I really want to get uh, that line of action, which is that, you know, that's definitely our foot. That would be where her foot is, and that kind of gives us an idea of like how far she is, how like where she's at, and pretty much what I'm looking at. It took me, I'm not measuring. I'm not really looking at like, am I right? Is this accurate? Obviously, some of this is not gonna be correct. It's not gonna go that far up, but this is the line that I want you to always be concerned, because this is what's gonna give your drawing life. And I'm talking to you as an animator. This line you're always concerned about when you're drawing an animation, the line of action. Maybe not so much figure drawing, but I can tell you when we did figure drawing, we were always drawing that line, especially when were doing like 1 minute sketches, or sometimes we did even 30-second sketches. So that line is very important. And from there, you just sort of like you can add the detail of her rib cage. That's not exactly it. I'm gonna go back because those are her shoulders. So her rib cage would be um, a bit towards the inside. I can see that her rib cage is facing this way. So her rib cage is sort of facing this way, right? But her the rest of her body is facing forward. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a line, that same line that I did for her head, and it's gonna face a little bit towards the right, but then I'm gonna do the inside right here, the bottom, and it's okay if it's open. And then there we go. Now as far as the other leg, we can see a little bit of the angle. We can do a little bit of arcs are always beautiful to have, especially because I already did this arc. I'm gonna do 2 lines here, but I'm gonna draw them after. I did this arc, so what I want to do for my drawing to flow is do another arc right here. So I'm gonna continue that right there. So you see, I think this one's a little too low. It's not gonna get into my drawing. But yeah, if you see, that's what's happening. And I know there is flow to the drawing because of those things that I'm keeping in mind, the things such as the arcs, and that's it's one of the things that it's a part of composition is arcs. Well, it's not really part officially. Nobody said that. Just it's something you want to keep in mind. It's like how does the viewer's eye, how is it being directed by the things that you're looking at, or like the things that they're looking at in your composition? Are they being directed to a specific something? So so for example, it might not be something that if you looked at the picture that we're looking at, it's not something you might actually pay attention to. But her arm, you could just do an arm like that. But if you're talking, I mean, if you're listening to what I'm saying the arcs might help your composition. So we are already using these types of arcs. And believe it or not, that's what's happening in her arm. She has an arc going on. And later on, when you start putting flesh to her depending on how far in the drawing you go, you will see that this sort of this is gonna show off really good, and it's gonna look good. It's gonna look great. So just sort of take advantage. We're like we have this direction going on in our piece. Remember that line of action, we still have that going on. I'm gonna go back 3. This pointy not elbow, shoulder that we have going on here, she has it, right? But if you see it, if you see what I'm doing, is I'm using it in my composition. I'm using it and I'm actually taking advantage of that. So for that, I'm gonna do her foot. Um, and I know I'm explaining to you guys exactly what I'm doing and why I'm making these choices, but this drawing should have taken me, I don't know, a minute and a half or something. Um, what I'm making sure is that you make good decisions in every single line that you take for a minute drawing, because then once you start filling in the flesh, whether this is a character, um, whether this is, you know, this is because we started well. This can turn into a good drawing, and then uh, there is there's something that um, there's something that you can't forget, and it's some of the lines, uh, like that line that I did like right there. That's not gonna help me. Doesn't help me. When you have a piece of paper, and I suggest you can practice in the computer on or on a tablet. But doing it on a piece of paper is really good because you can't erase. So of course I did that line and I was like, nope, that's not gonna work. So I erased it. But I suggest that you work on a piece of paper. Anyways, I forgot what I was saying before that. I think I told you earlier that my memory is not quite the best. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful, and I wanted to bring this up. I'm gonna add another image here. This again is, we're gonna see it probably in the book many times, is the principles of animation, just so you guys don't forget. These are like some of, I think I said earlier I would talk about some of the ones that you kind of can practice while you're doing figure drawing. Some of the ones that you can practice are exaggeration. I love doing exaggeration when I was doing figure drawing. Uh, like when you have muscles, when you have it really depends on the position of the model, but if you have somebody stretching, oh, there it goes, squashing and stretching, that's another principle of animation that you can practice during your figure drawing. If they do squash and stretch, the model is doing a pose that they're stretching. Like for example, if you wanted to, I'm gonna do it really quick, so not take too much time on this. But if they, it was sort of like this same pose, but maybe they had an arm up or something like that, then you could practice with making sure that you use, long lines, or stretch ahead the head more. I don't know. It depends on the pose, of course. I don't know. It's sort of like practice a little bit of like the poses, the pose that are possible with what you have, with the model that you're looking at. So obviously that's not the same, but it's sort of like an example that I'm trying to give you is if you have a model that is sort of doing something that looks like very stretchy, just try to push it a little bit more and exaggerate and try to stretch it more, and practice your squash and stretch. Let's see. Um, the lines of actions are, I can't tell you how important it is to, like, even if I wasn't really following, I know I'm following exactly as this girl looks on the picture on the right, but if I wasn't, I would tilt her head towards the left a little bit more so I have a better line of action. And that's a better line of action because it's not, the line of action always needs to flow. And if her head wasn't tilted towards the left side, it would be stopping. That line of action stops. But now it's not because I tilted her head towards the left. So that's just a better composition. Things like that would help you, whether you're practicing or you're actually creating a figure drawing, you know, illustration, because you could be creating a full illustration of a figure drawing illustration. Those are things that could help you. Oh, and one of the things that I wanted to show you is, oh, let's see, I might need a little bit more space here. I'll just do it here. When I was starting out, and sometimes even now, it really helps me to create spirals for arms so that I know which way the arm is facing, if that makes sense. So if the spiral goes that way, which I'm not very good at creating spirals that way, but if it's going that way, far away from you, it will actually help you kind of visualize that the arm is moving farther away from you. Whereas if it was coming this way, that's the easiest one. You could you can see it. So like for example, and actually I think we practice creating spirals, or maybe they told us to create. Oh yeah, no, I think that was actually something we practiced. So if we practice creating, so down and then up spirals on a full body on animals, it would actually help you understand what way a spiral goes and visualize the arm or limb in a 3D shape. So when you're like struggling trying to create like sense of how it actually goes, you can create a spiral. So well, this is not an arm because I made it a line, but if it was, it would be like this. Anyways, hopefully that tip helps. I know it's helped me throughout, and you can see like my sketchbooks for my figure drawing classes, they were full of spirals. And the spiral doesn't look bad. It's just a technique to be able to see really what shape, your character is it's the limbs of your characters are going for forward or going the opposite direction. So hopefully this helps. If you guys have any questions or would like for me to go into detail or would like for me to go into or create a small video on this program, then put it in the comments. This is it. Also, I'm not gonna create a bye-bye video, so please subscribe, thumbs up, and hit the bell notification. And I hope you liked this chapter 2 of this book, and hopefully this was helpful. And I will see you for chapter 3. Hopefully, anywhere from Friday to Saturday, I'll post a chapter 3 video. The chapter 3 video. So for this survival kit, chapter 3 that we're gonna read together. So hopefully you did read this. If not, you at least found this video helpful. But put it in the comment box. It really helps me out. Thank you. Bye.